Hello, everyone. Welcome to the ATYL live stream on a Thursday night. Good to see you all here. Recapping the Roval, there's a lot of silly season news I feel that dropped in the past, 24 or 48 hours that we'll definitely talk about. NASCAR news and, of course, topics of your choice. Put them in the comments and we will discuss them as we go along. So there we go. Cool. So yeah, we'll kind of just get started by talking about the Roval. I will say, point situation for ATYL. I don't know if they changed a lot, Dom. I hate to say it, but I'm so sorry. But things just haven't been working out for you.
Oh, good. Oh, goody.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Everything I wanted and more.
Yeah. By the way, Dom Joseph here, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Yes, thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, what, 4 races left? Or what, 3? 4? Yeah, 4 races left. You can make that up if we all fail,
Yeah. Give me in a Hendrick car and maybe I'll have a chance.
Oh, yeah. I have a chance.
Good grief.
Well, good to see you all in the chat. Heels Rule, Adam, John. Good to see it all. John, good to see you back. And thank you,
I appreciate the kudos for Roval work.
Yeah. Why don't we talk about that for a second? Just the experience of being there.
Well, why don't you go ahead? That was your first time working Charlotte.
Yeah. So every time I've gone to Charlotte since, I guess, so 2022, and then this past year for the 600, it's been as a fan. And I was like, you know what? If I have a chance to go to Charlotte and work the event, since I've seen the track, I've been in the infield, I want to do it. So really cool experience. Definitely a different vibe for Michigan. I'll be completely honest with you all. Michigan, not a lot of your big names are going to be there because it's not like home base. You know what I mean? So it was a totally different feeling. And at Charlotte, it was like everyone was super serious. Everyone was down to business, ready to work. And that's how it should be. And that's how it is. But it was totally, I can't even explain it more than it was just totally different. But it was so cool. Got to meet a lot of great folks within NASCAR, within the media center. A lot of you guys too stopped me and just said, hey, so thanks for doing that. That was really cool. But yeah, no, the racing there, seeing the Roval in person, though I wasn't in the stands, still being there trackside essentially was such a cool experience. And even too, a playoff race, covering a playoff race, Dom, I think you can attest to this. It's also very different too. There's more of an intense feeling to it, but it's also a little bit more fun because I feel like at that point too, you have more storylines that you can focus on. So yeah, I thought it was cool.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's the home race. Everyone wants the home. Oh, everyone wants to win the home race. And then add that it's a playoff race, and there's a lot more meaning to winning it, especially if you're in the playoffs. But big deal. Literally everyone who was anybody in NASCAR was there, and I was the opposite of you. I work for NASCAR, but went as a fan instead of working the event. So that was cool to actually, don the Kyle Busch gear, all my M&M stuff, and just go as a fan and enjoy it. Speaking of Kyle, I got taken care of too, so that was awesome.
So jealous.
Shootout car, my favorite Kyle Busch car. But yeah, no, it was. I love the oval so much. I prefer it so much more than the Roval, but it was definitely more of a let me just enjoy a race instead of working one. As much as I do love working them, it was a good deal. To answer Hab's question, I'm a Toyota fan, and I loved the M&M's car for the longest time. I kind of considered Kyle my favorite Toyota driver for a while. Denny's my guy now. But I grew up a Logano fan, and he started with Toyota, started in the Home Depot car. That was my favorite car from childhood. So there's the backup to that. But just Toyota power, even though he doesn't drive a Toyota anymore. Kyle said he liked my M&M's jackets. I'll take that all day.
And you custom made a hat to go with the jacket too.
Yes, absolutely. You have to.
FYI. But next level. And yes, I did. A lot of you tagged me in this. I did make the Peacock broadcast.
Yes. Good.
We got the branding out there, you guys. Let's go. But that was also it was the end of the day. I felt my worst and I looked my worst and I was tired, but I was so amped. I loved the day. Also, just seeing even AJ Allmendinger win that race. What a cool race to be able to be at and say you saw an AJ and a Kaulig win. Dude was stoked. It was such a good feeling. You know what I mean?
I'm so glad I told myself, get near victory lane to see the celebration. Oh, so worth it. Yeah, because nobody gets as hyped as AJ to celebrate a win. Yeah, I love how before he could even stand up, he was already drenched in
Oh yeah.
Celsius from the crew guys behind him, drenching him. And then he could finally put his hands up and celebrate and let out everything he wanted to say.
And and then his emotion, like, on the front stretch for his interview and going into the stands, call back to Joseph Newgarden, what he did at Indy when he won the 500, and what Ryan Blaney did, if we want to talk NASCAR, what he did when he won the 600. Justin Allgaier did it as well when he won at Charlotte earlier this year too. So I guess maybe we're seeing a new tradition at Charlotte. I don't know. But also, I want to shout out real quick, Racing America, partnered with TobyChristie.com, got to work with them this weekend. It was great to be able to work with them. And Tyson, who did our photography this weekend, freaking nailed the pictures. Victory Lane pictures looked stunning. So if you guys have a chance to see them, go to the Racing America website, TobyChristie.com. Shameless plug, but looked incredible. So yeah, and funny enough, like going into the race too, like I was there for AJ's like bullpen media time before. Before on Saturday, I should say. And just seeing the vibe between him then versus like when he won, it felt like a relief. Like there was a weight lifted. He came into the media day, and obviously, like nobody likes media day, like driver wise. I'm sure like drivers don't enjoy it necessarily. It's an obligation, but he's answering the same questions over and over, like what's your 2024 plans and this and that. So one, away from that a little bit, right? But two, because they've been searching for a win. It's been such an off season for Colleague. In terms of their performance, where we think that they're strongest, which I would say super speedways and obviously the road courses. So
compared to last year, they're
yeah, compared to last year, they're definitely off, but a good step. As soon as they were fast in practice and qualifying, I knew they had something to win in, and I was so excited going into it. I'm like, okay, AJ has a chance. I don't think he'll win it, but he has a chance. And then the strategy got flipped for so many drivers with all the weird cautions, and he had to face Ty Gibbs, he had to face Kyle Busch, he had to face William Byron, and he was practically flawless. It was just perfect.
And what people don't realize is like William Byron tried everything to get by him. And you could just tell. I want to say there was about 15 or 12 laps to go. Byron got right to his back bumper, couldn't pass him, realized, it's a long lap. Just one lap is a long lap. So about 10 laps to go, he backed off and just cooled his stuff down and let AJ get away. And with 3 laps to go, like it was nothing. And it just shows, number one, how good Byron is. Number two, how good Hendrick's stuff is. Like it was nothing. Got right back to the back bumper of AJ. But as they always say, it's one thing to catch him. It's another thing to pass him. And
exactly.
AJ made that 16 car wide and really used the track to his advantage. Perhaps slowing down a little earlier into corners, forcing Byron to slow down early, and then he can gun it, keep him left in the dust in the corner. He's already out of it while Byron's still going through it. So stuff like that. I mean, that's just the genius of road course racing that I'm sure AJ has mastered. I mean, look what he's done in Xfinity. I know it really doesn't compare to Cup, but he's got 3 Cup wins, and they're all on road courses. So do the math.
And even too, like Sam Mayer, he won the Xfinity Series race. All his races this season in Xfinity, like his first Xfinity win, etc., they've all come at road courses, correct? So like
Road America, Watkins Glen, and Charlotte Roval.
Yeah. So I mean, he said that at some point, like AJ Allmendinger said, he made this call back in his post-race press for the winners press. Funny enough, call back to AJ Allmendinger's comment when he finally wanted an oval. He's like, I want to be able to be like AJ and say I finally wanted an oval. So hoping that that's up next for Sam Mayer. But I think he's kind of solidified that he's the new road course king in the Xfinity Series now that Ty Gibbs is gone, now that AJ Allmendinger's gone. But do you feel the same way? I mean, I think he's gotten a little lucky.
I feel like you could honestly call Sam Mayer the closer when it comes to road course races in Xfinity.
That's
because
fair.
If you watch the entirety of the race when Ty Gibbs isn't in the event and when AJ's not in the event because they've got it figured out, Allgaier normally dominates the road course. And Custer's up there too.
Yeah.
So it's just Mayer is good at surviving the road courses, I'll say. Because, I mean, let's be honest, that was Allgaier's race to lose, and Jeb Burton needed to do what he had to do to stay alive in the playoffs. It's the box they're put in. He knew, I think we all knew, that was the most likely outcome, unless he just completely dipped on the restart and let everyone by, which you don't do that in racing regardless.
No.
But I just think, man, Allgaier has proven, like, man, he can dominate all the way up until the white flag flies on road courses, which is a darn shame.
Yeah, I was thinking that we were going to see an Allgaier back-to-back win at Charlotte, whether the Charlotte Oval to the Roval. That didn't happen, but that three wide finish to the end, like I was in the media center and I was like, oh my God, like they just did that. Like it, I mean, just to get a point, and that's where Daniel Hemrick, because he flawless race for him. And if
Yeah.
it wasn't for that three wide move, I think he would have made it to the next round, which is unfortunate because I was two spots right there and he finished 2 points under the line. I think he would have won a tiebreaker. So it's how racing works. It's unfortunate, but
And it's like the thing too with that is like, man, he was in perfectly good shape if Mayer didn't win.
right,
That is the nature of the beast. It's, man, you really have to just race as hard as you can because you don't know what's going to happen because you can only control what you can control. Um,
right,
he could have had the perfect day, finished second, but the leader who won the race knocked him out. Could have been
right,
the very same result. I mean, look at Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch had a great day in the 8 car, finished third, but it still knocked him out
right.
because he had to win.
And with even like the cup point situation, following this with AJ's win, um, this is who we have going on to the round. Why do I have 10 up there? I clearly did this graphic, so apologies, guys.
No,
Did
you,
this
you
literally an
did
hour
one,
ago.
two, three, four, and then 7, 8, 9,
8,
10.
9, 10. We love it. Ignore it, you guys.
That's,
Yeah, we love it. 1, 2,
you
3,
won't
4.
get it.
You guys don't get it. It's inside joke. Just kidding now. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Busher would be 5, and then we kind of go down the line. But this is who makes it onto the round of 8. We have Byron, Truex, Hamlin, Larson. Truex barely scrapes by again. Busher, Reddick, Bell, and Blaney. And I'm gonna be real honest with you. I talked about this in the video I posted on Monday, and I kind of forgot to mention Bell as a championship 4 contender. I'm not going to lie to you. I kind of forgot he existed, even though he performed pretty well at the Roval until he got caught up in other people's messes a little bit. But like, talk about Bell, Mr. Toyota over there. Like, how are we feeling about his championship 4 chance there, even to how we feel he's going to do moving on to this round?
I mean, he did win Martinsville last year when the chips were
That's true.
down. If he needed to do it, he got it. So our 3 races are, correct me if I'm wrong, Vegas, Homestead, Martinsville, correct?
Right. Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, because of the dirt track background, you would think Homestead's in his wheelhouse.
Right.
I'll be honest, I don't think anybody's beating Hendrick this weekend in Vegas.
That's my
But
thought process.
that they've got it down to a science. But if we're talking mile and a halfs, JGR, Toyota as a whole have gotten a little better. I mean, it's so hard to read because Hendrick has owned Vegas, but Toyota's owned Kansas, and they're the same exact style racetrack. So it's hard to read if I'm being honest. But Bell, I think he's one of those guys that could really capitalize on other people's mistakes.
Yeah.
Um, I'll be honest. I look at who's in the championship 4 right now: Byron, Truex, Hamlin, Larson, and I could honestly easily swap out Bell for Truex because
Mhm.
what people don't realize. This is the stat I was going to tell you about earlier. Truex, since Watkins Glen, has not had a top 15 finish.
A top 15.
A top 15
Holy crap.
since Watkins Glen in
Wow.
August. So you want to talk about someone that has zero momentum and zero competitiveness in this playoffs? That 19 car, their days are numbered.
Yeah.
So I would easily swap out the 20. I would easily swap out the 17. I would easily swap out the 45 for that
Mhm.
19 car. And I mean, look at what Logano did last year at Vegas. They weren't the fastest all year, but they cruised at Vegas. Who's to say Blaney can't do the same? He loves Vegas. He's done so well there. It's one of those tracks he's done tremendous at, just hasn't closed the deal. Martinsville's another one for Blaney. So I would say Byron, Hamlin, Larson are. I mean, Larson's only +3, but he's just so freaking good at Homestead in Vegas.
Right.
And Byron's got a comfortable gap, and Denny's just been Denny,
Mhm.
consistent and just blocking out the noise. And I mean, anybody can play
And
Eliminator.
and I guess here's the thing too. So one, yes, I know Bell made it to the championship 4 last year with his win at Martinsville. It was a huge deal. This year, he's kind of flown under the radar a little bit, and that's why I was kind of like, how did I forget about Bell? He could be a really real contender, and I totally agree with you, Dom. I think that you could swap out Truex for any of those 4 that are under that line right now. And I will agree, Adam in the chat said, Hendrick Motorsports will win. Vegas, I think that's the same thing. And then somebody said in here that Blaney has to be good. I want to try to see it. Maybe I didn't see it. But Blaney's, I think, best shot. I know Martinsville's a great shot for him, but we can kind of expect chaos there. His cleanest shot he's going to get is going to be at Vegas. And again, what you said with Joey Logano being pretty, he just smooth. He cruised through that race last year. I think Blaney can do the same if they bring the same setup, the same type of equipment. I think Blaney can perform. But yeah, Larson plus or to the good doesn't concern me. I think he'll be fine.
Honestly, all it takes is one good Vegas race, and then
it really does.
Be solid at Homestead. And I mean, he's the defending winner of that race, and he's in business.
Right. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm looking forward to the championship 4 right now. Those that are in the white right now, or I guess in the green, if you really want to call it like what it is. Yeah. Byron, Truex, Hamlin, Larson. That was my pick heading into this playoffs. Those were my championship 4 when we started the round of 16, right?
Yeah.
So I would like it to stay this way, just so I could be right. But part of me also wants it to be a little different. So like, because I think any of the 4 below that line, they're wild cards. They're not somebody that I think we expect to go to the championship for. I think I really want to see one of those teams that are below the 20, the 45, anyone like that contending for a championship, especially Buescher. I think that'd be a really, really cool Cinderella story year for RFK.
If you look at the championship 4 right now, and let's just say Truex dominates, like really wakes up in this round. Let's say he wins Vegas. Let's say he wins Homestead or Martinsville, but like just thoroughly is just up front all race long. And this is our championship 4. We're going to look and say, you know what? This is a good one. This is going to be a good one. Byron has been the man all year. Truex woke up from last year, had a good year, woke up when the fire was at consistent all year, and Larson. So
yeah,
this would be a really good championship 4. If one of them has to go, I think Buescher would be another good one where it's, man, he caught fire at the right time, waited for the second half of the year and just started racking them up one at a time. And I picked Bell to win the title solely because I figured he'd play the system where it would be Byron, Hamlin, Larson, and then Bell. Everyone's thinking Byron, Hamlin, or Larson are going to win it, and then Bell wins it just because he plays the system. So I'm going to stick to that. I think Bell has a chance. I mean, he's in the round of 8, so he's got a chance, obviously. But if I'm being realistic, I think it would be Byron, Hamlin, Larson, and Buescher.
Yeah. I like that championship 4. And I will say I was trying to search for what I was thinking of, and I finally found it. Truex is a perfect example of why the regular season matters. We always talk about the regular season not really having any meaning anymore, or we feel like the regular season championship is meaningless. You see how he's skirted by these playoffs with the awful results he's had? That's because of the playoff points that he's been able to pick up this season and that extra oomph from the regular season championship. That has helped him and his team. So if we complain about it again, look back 2023 Martin Truex Jr. and his run that he's had in the playoffs. That's why it matters. And I will say that was a wake-up call for me.
It's going to hurt, though, if they don't go to the championship 4. It is going to hurt for that team. Because, I mean, the last 2 points resets have really resurrected his hopes.
Right.
He still has hung on by a thread. So we'll see. We'll just have to wait and see. A lot to be decided. And it's just like, man, the nerves are kicking up. Like, this is going to be good. I'm really pumped for this round of 8. It's going to be really good.
And here's the thing, like, not like last year. I felt every driver deserved to be in the round of 8 that was, but this year, like, you see these names and you're like, they've all made something happen. Blaney, sure, Penske has not been super consistent this year. They've struggled this year, but he's picked up the pace when it matters the most. Like Talladega, he kind of had to win, right? Or he had to win the Roval in order to advance. He does. Bell, he's been pretty consistent. He had a little bit of a rough summer, but he's getting better. He's picking up momentum. But every driver here, I see a valid reason why they should and can win the championship. And it's so exciting. I agree with you.
And in terms of points, like, just think about the importance of stage points and everything. One thing you got to
remember, they're really close.
The one thing you got to remember, too, with like stage points and all that stuff, Bell has been a qualifying machine.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I'll never forget at Kansas when Larson put down probably the best lap I'd ever seen at Kansas, and literally got oohs and ahs in the media center from his lap because he was on the edge the whole way around, came through pole position easily, and then Bell went out right after him and topped him. And
Yeah.
people, I can't remember who it was, but right after this, how did he get that? How did he get that out of that car? It's just,
Mhm.
it's what he does. So
Yeah.
those dirt racers, man, they get everything out of that car and then some.
It would be cool to have, like, a dirt racers versus, like, asphalt type of guys championship.
Yeah.
I think that'd be pretty sweet.
And I love the situation we're in right now where, I mean, look at those guys that are out of it right now. The gap between fifth through eighth is 7 points.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, something's got to give here. Something's got to give, and it's going to be so much fun because just it's the way someone's going to have a problem
Oh, yeah.
somewhere. It's something. Like I think back to 2012 when Jimmy it looked like it was gonna be Brad's championship to lose, and then here comes 5 time, and
Yeah.
Jimmy gets a win at Martinsville, gets a win at Texas, just like that. He's right back in the dance. Blown tire at Phoenix, and just
Yeah.
like that, oh my gosh, he was just back in the dance, and now he's out. So anything can happen. Anything can happen.
So let us know. We'll circle back around to this at the end just to close everything out. But let us know your championship for in the comments below. We'll share them at the end. And then keep note of them so you can either tell us if you're right or you're wrong once we hit that championship live stream that we do. But let's talk about some NASCAR news. We got some silly season stuff to kind of break down. There's a lot, and a lot of them actually connect some dots or they lead to some theories. So I'm excited about this a little bit. So first off, Riley Herbst today announced that he's signing back for his ride at Stewart Haas Racing in the Xfinity Series in 2024. A lot of us thought, well, maybe he's moving up to Cup. Maybe this is what's in the cards at SHR. He's staying put. So, what do you feel about that?
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
No, I mean, the one thing I'll give him credit where credit's due. This has been a hell of a lot better than the
Yes.
last couple years. He's improved, and that's what you want. I would honestly vote him most improved
Agree.
for this year, aside from Mayer. But it's the kid has gotten it figured out a little bit. Whereas instead of let's just race to get the points and the paycheck, it is let's get ourselves in position. And they've been
Yeah.
in position, and just things haven't worked out. But that is the nature of the beast. You can ask Matt DiBenedetto, who's been in that position many times, and just sometimes it's just some people aren't chosen to win races. It's that tough. It's that difficult to do it. That's why we're not race car drivers.
Right.
It's easy to talk about. It's another thing to do it. But this has been a much better year for him. And I think another year, it'll probably be him and Custer again next year. And I think that'll be a lot of fun to see them really sort of turn the heat up with that team.
This, I believe it was the Kansas race where it was him and Kligerman going for that final spot in the playoffs. Yeah, and he fought back from the worst case scenarios with his
Yeah.
car. And then as soon as you thought he made it back into the championship fight or just trying to stay within a playoff situation, he would fall out of it because of another issue that just it wasn't of his doing. Like he had the car, he had the performance that day to get farther.
Yep.
But of course, luck just wasn't on his side. So he's been able to contend for wins this season as opposed to I think last year. He's had genuine speed. It's just a matter of maintaining that. And I think next year, if he can build off of this, he'll be great next year. I really think he will be.
We certainly hope so.
So Riley Herbst, again, he is staying put in 2024. Another piece of news too, this is no secret, it was just confirmed. Carson Hocevar officially moving up to Spire in the number 77 in the Cup Series next year. So that team is going to have Zane Smith. He will be, again, he's signed with Trackhouse, but he'll be in Spire equipment, so part of the Spire organization. Corey LaJoy in the 7, and then, of course, Carson Hocevar in that 77, which means Ty Dillon, pardon, I just did a Rick Allen there. Ty Dillon is gone from the 77. We don't know where he's going to end up. And then announced today as well, Matt Mills is going to be replacing Carson Hocevar in the number 42 at Nice. So a lot happening there. But first, let's just get to Carson Hocevar. And I will just say the turnaround this kid has had from going to a no name like 2 years ago to being like a whoa, kid's just wrecking people and like is immature and whatever to now where I'm like, I truly believe he's ready for a cup ride. He's earned it. Like,
I mean,
what a turnaround.
If Gateway wasn't a testament to what he can do,
Right.
that I think that was the mother of all auditions, you know. And this is now two guys that have been substitute drivers this year that have earned cup rides.
Yeah.
Him and Josh Berry. So pretty easy to see what you can do when you're in good equipment. And even, I mean, Hosfar wasn't even in the best equipment. That was 1 week removed from Gregson being hurt, and man, he just hauled in that 42 car. So um, I think he's ready. I think we'll see. The one thing that's been good though is that he has gotten a ton of track time this year
Yeah.
in a cup car. It's one thing to move up from truck to Xfinity and then be ready, expected to be ready for Cup, without making any laps in a Cup car because they are so different.
Hmm.
No, I think Hocevar is going to have a better run than most because he's got laps in that car. It is the 77 though, so
That's
you
my
gotta
concern.
remember how that car's been doing. But then again, look what he did in the 42. So
Hmm.
we could be surprised. LaJoy has kind of shown what Spire can do. Um, Sometimes you just need a little extra luck. But I don't think he'll be terrible for sure. But I don't expect him to be like, leading laps, winning poles. Let the kid get the tracks and the car figured out, and then let's go chase some W's.
Right. And it's a multi-year deal. So he's going to be with them for a bit. So his spot is secured. But yeah, I'm excited for him. I do think he's ready, like you said, as opposed to other drivers who have maybe done like one cup ride and they're like, all right, here you are, cup ride for like 2024 and beyond. And I'm like, that they are not ready. They're going to fail. I think Carson has a solid footing under him to where he can excel. And then again, too, you're talking the 42 versus Spire. But maybe if, 2024, there is an extra backing from like Andretti or something like that. Cause I mean, they're making big moves. Like they've announced like the past few months, they're adding another, like they added Zane Smith, and then they're moving to KBM.
KBM.
Yeah. Like they're doing a lot right now. So my concern is like, there's going to be too much new, a lot to manage, and the performance next year is going to suffer because of it, or it could be fine and they'll do well. So it's going to be a transition year for Spire for their two new drivers, but I think Corey LaJoy can act as a good mentor. I think he has that capability to do that. And two, I think even Corey LaJoy, like I've seen him perform better at the road courses this year. Like, and I feel like
Mhm.
that's a part of Spire's program that hasn't always been there. So I think they're going the right direction. It's not just super speedways where you can count on him. It's also road courses too. I mean, he did well. He
He
had
was
both
quick in
cars.
practice at the
Yeah,
Roval.
the top 10 for him and Ty Dillon.
Yeah, he
So
was quick at the Roval for sure. And again, yeah, you can't with a team that's spending this kind of money all at once. You can't
mhm.
expect them to like immediately go out guns blazing. There's gonna be a transition period
Oh yeah. Oh
where
yeah.
they're gonna have to make adjustments. So, I mean, kind of like legacy, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to wait and see.
And speaking of legacy, I don't even I did not expect this at all, but Matt Kenseth is going to be joining Legacy Motor Club as a competition advisor. We know that Legacy is making the transition to Toyota next year and having somebody to maybe bridge that gap, but also just have an extra set of help in their shop, on the competition side of things. I mean, you have seven time, and then Matt Kenseth, uh, Winston Cup champ. I think unexpected, but I like this. My only question is like, with this new generation of car, I mean, Kenseth has been around a bit. I mean, he raced at Chip Ganassi filling in for Kyle Larson 2020. So he's not too far removed from the sport. But what I don't know, what are your thoughts about this? I felt a little bit both ways about it, but I'm ultimately excited.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good addition. I mean, anytime you can add a Cup champion to your roster of development team, that's
Hmm.
huge. You would want a Super Bowl champion to be your head coach. So I think the same applies here for Legacy Motor Club. Kenseth has 39 wins in the Cup Series. He's got a Cup championship. He's got 2 Daytona 500s. He's got the resume. So,
Right.
yeah, I think regardless of actually driving the race car, he's going to be a great mentor
Hmm.
for these guys. Eric Jones, going back to Toyota, you're going to have John Hunter Nemechek, who's getting a very rare second chance in the Cup Series. So you're going to want to lean on someone who's been there, who knows what it's like to be at the highest level and also be at the bottom climbing back up to the top.
Right.
You got to think about 2014, didn't win a single race. 2008 didn't win a single race. The next year in 2009, won the Daytona 500, won the first two races right out of the gate. And then 2015 was a championship contender. So if anyone knows about rebounding, it's Matt Kenseth. So
Mhm.
I think he's a great guy to bring to the team because now you've got Jimmy Johnson and Matt Kenseth in your corner. That's awesome. That's huge for them. That's like, I mean, look at Hendrick. You've got Knaus and Jeff Gordon as your bosses. So it's a big deal to have Kenseth.
I'm excited to see Jimmy and Matt like as like not as competitors, but as like coworkers. I think that's going to be such a cool dynamic. I mean, they have a mutual respect for each other. I mean, I'm really excited to see it. I also think it's going to be a little weird, but I think it will help elevate Legacy Motor Club overall. And Heels rule. You said next year. You kind of clarified in your comments here. But I expect Legacy to be really good next year, or am I overhyping them? And I think that's a good question. I think, again, kind of like Spire, think of it as a transition year. Don't
Mhm.
have huge expectations. I mean, it's a manufacturer change. We know that Eric Jones has that relationship with Toyota. Obviously, John Henry Nemechek has a relationship with Toyota. Matt Kenseth, relationship with Toyota. But as they're jumping ship from Chevy, there's going to be some bumps in the roads, I imagine. Though I will say, Eric Jones, I mean, he's able to figure things out pretty quickly. I feel like he's very adaptable.
Yeah.
So I think he'll transition pretty well into this. Again, John Henry Nemechek, he's going from Toyota to Toyota, so he should be fine. Um, so yeah, but I'm excited to see this all happen. I would expect them to be. I don't know. Do we think they'll be the same, worse, better? I guess just on a scale there, like
Y-
reasonably.
I think the one thing that helps them is when one Toyota team does well, all Toyota teams do well.
Yeah,
So it'll depend on how it honestly, let's just be honest, it depends on how Gibbs does next year.
it's true. Yeah, yeah.
Because, when Gibbs switched to Toyota in '08, Kyle Busch won like 6 or 7 races
Yeah.
in that season. So they came out of the gate swinging. But Michael Waltrip Racing also switched to Toyota and didn't win for 2 years. And their only win at that time was a rainout win. So
That's fair.
it kind of just depends. I know that's all in the past. Things are pretty equal now, but I think JGR sets the pace, sets the tone of what Toyota is going to look like in a season. But what will help them compared to Chevy and Ford is that all the Toyotas run pretty equally.
Right.
So if JGR's up there killing it, 2311's normally biting at their tail, and I bet you Legacy's going to be right there with them doing the same thing. And I mean, who knows? Maybe we could see Eric Jones win. Let's just say maybe he wins Vegas next year to start out the season.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to wait and see. I think Daytona definitely isn't the place to figure that out.
No.
That'll be a week two. That'll be a week two figure out.
Yeah, and I think too expectations for next year. We talked about the schedule last live stream we did, and I have a video up breaking down the schedule for Cup, Xfinity, and Truck all on the Toby Christie Com YouTube channel. So if you want to watch that, don't watch it now. Hang on with us still, but watch it later. But we're not going to figure out how good these cars actually are until we reach, after we get done with Atlanta, right?
The
Because those
first
are
mile and
two
a half
races.
is going to be
Yeah,
who's got what.
right. That's going to tell us what we'll be seeing this year. And then again, kind of like beginning of this year, I mean, teams are going to grow and develop and they're going to get better as the year goes on because these teams are going to figure out, how far were we off or can we fix, etc. Some drivers get really hot in the summer, I guess pun intended, because heat, huh? And some drivers just like don't. I know I'm awful. Sorry, guys. So we'll just have to see. I know we're saying a lot of we'll just have to see, but that really is with all the silly season talk. We don't know. We can have goals for certain drivers, but and expectations, but we're really not going to know how they perform until we see them on the track next year in 2024, which I'm already excited for next season. I'm not going to lie to you
And I
all.
mean, regardless of what happened to him, did any of us expect Chase to be winless this year? So, it's one of
Fair.
those you've got to just let the season play out to get your answers.
Exactly. Let me see. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. one piece of silly season news that I wanted to touch on too, because it went along with the Spire situation. So obviously, with Hocevar moving to the 77, Ty Dillon is out. Uh, I'm connecting, like, my theory here is I think Ty Dillon's going to find home in the Xfinity series because, and this probably won't be true at all, but I was like, maybe. Sheldon Creed, they announced really abruptly, was this yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah, that he won't return to RCR next year in the number two. He does have,
So
yeah, go
Bob
ahead.
Bob Pockris said he doesn't expect Ty to go to the 2 car.
Mhm.
So if that's the case, then I would say that Ty's not taking the 2 car.
Right. Because that was like a theory I had, and then I saw that tweet and I was like, maybe not, because we trust Bob. We do. Um, 'Cause there's just so many things that could happen, but it was a really big shock to see that Sheldon Creed was gone. I felt that he put in a pretty good performance in that two car. He did say though in his press release that he had put out on his social media, or his statement, I should say, that he posted on his social media, that he's excited to share his plans for 2024. So it sounds like he has something figured out already. And it looks like RCR might have something figured out already too with their statement that they released. So I think everyone's secure. Everyone knows what they're doing in 2024, but kind of unfortunate to see them part ways. And in my opinion, that in a very abrupt way. I don't think there was any indication outwardly that that was going to happen. So
Yeah, no, that was surprising to me, especially with the year that Sheldon's had, where he's been a
mhm.
little better. But this was a guy that won the truck championship in 2020 and came into Xfinity with a lot of expectations and hasn't really met those expectations.
Right. Part of me
Especially when
almost
his teammates kicking butt and is a title
right.
favorite.
Right. Ben said, I think ties being heavily linked to AJ's 16 car and cup. Um,
Okay.
John, you said, I'm stunned to see that Creed isn't going back to RCR. That announcement was out of nowhere.
I
And then,
don't see how Colleague walks away from AJ for Ty Dillon. No, no, I mean no disrespect, but
right.
I
No,
just
I
don't
agree.
see how they do that.
I
I,
mean,
I think Ty's going to find home in Xfinity. Uh,
right.
for Creed, the one thing I mean, there's a spot open at JGR. That 20 car's still open.
Yeah.
So could be, might be, but we'll see. I don't see Ty going back to JGR. Remember, he did a year with them. But
Well, and here's the other thing too. Like, I know there was reports from Matt Weaver from Sportsnot, that Chandler Smith might be linked to Joe Gibbs Racing for next year. Even though he's in contract with Colleague, but he's being linked to them for next year is what he reported, or what the story he put out a few days ago. So it's a lot of talk, speculation. Someone's linked to something, but it ultimately might not fall through. And Ben, 100%, it's all about money. Sometimes it's not about your talent or the links; it's about money. But I would be shocked if Colleague walked away from somebody that they've talked about as being family and so integral to the team for that. And AJ said too, I mean, he was on Bull Ring this week, Racing America. I'm talking about his win, and he was like, I want to retire in the Cup Series. I want to be in Cup for as long as I can. It's a business decision. It's ultimately up to Chris Rice and Matt Colleague. But I will and want to be racing in Cup in some way, shape, or form next year. So I would imagine if that's what he wants, I would assume that Chris and Matt would do anything they can to keep him there, whether it's full time or not. Uh, so that's my expectations. So he could be splitting that ride with somebody, but I think anything, I don't know. I do. Okay. I don't know if you want this to happen to you, Don, but I love when AJ was in Xfinity because he just dominated. His energy was so different. You know what I mean? And I
the
feel like we
pressure was
need,
off.
right. The pressure was off, and it was literally the trophy hunting that we know from Colleague to do, but it was on steroids because AJ could just go out and he was competitive each weekend. And not saying
Yeah.
that Colleague isn't necessarily doing that this year. They're not at the same level they were in Xfinity at all. Um, but I don't know. Like,
You got to remember though, especially for a guy like AJ now that has tasted victory twice in the last 3 years
right,
in Cup, how rewarding is an Xfinity win compared to a Cup win?
right,
You got to remember his athletic drive. He is an athlete and he's very competitive. So what's gonna satisfy him more? Three Xfinity wins or one Cup win?
right. And Ben put it here too, and I had the same thought as you, Ben. I didn't want to read into it a little too much, but you could either take his win two ways with his emotion. One, kind of what Ben is saying is it kind of felt like this was his last cup win, maybe his last cup chance. He said, Ben said, I'd rather see him back in Xfinity at this point in his career too. That's fair. Or it could be like, the win that maybe saved his career. If talks were going a certain way, it's, hey, I can still win at the Cup Series. And I think it proved something to AJ for himself in that moment too. Like, they had an off year. They were all very, telling about that. They all kind of shared in full honesty, it's been an off year for them, but that showed that, they can still win at a cup level. But yeah, no, the emotion was very raw and real. And I really listened into what he was saying, the words, how he was presenting them, because I like to read into things, but not too much. So yeah, I don't know. I love that. I love that investigation piece of it. Here's a good one, John. John says, my favorite Allmendinger win in Xfinity was Bristol 2021. His battle with Cindric was one of the wildest finishes I've ever seen. I loved that win. It was such an iconic moment.
Yeah, that was nuts.
That's a like scream at your TV, standing up from the couch type of ending to a race,
Yeah, I still remember when he won Watkins Glen in Cup.
Oof.
And just the literal screaming from the radio of like because he had been in Cup since 2007 trying to win, and he finally got it and had to beat Ambrose to do it. Oh my gosh, the relief! Yeah. That was a special one to watch. I'm glad I got to see that one.
I guess something that we relearned or reaffirmed to ourselves is that AJ is a fun driver to watch win.
Yes.
He is. It is a breath of fresh air, I think, from the fan perspective. And I also will say, too, just side note about my season this year, the races I've gone to. The 600, it was a Blaney win. It wasn't like your typical Larson. It wasn't this. And not saying a Larson win is bad. They're always impressive and always really cool to watch. But it was Blaney. Michigan, though I wasn't able to stay till Monday, it was Chris Buescher. Roval, AJ Allmendinger. Like, those three winners this season, like, I don't know if we would have expected Blaney, yes. But AJ and Chris, knowing the equipment that they've had in the past, even to Colleague this year, like I said, wouldn't have expected them to pick up wins, or for Chris's sake, multiple wins this year. So I thought that was pretty cool. Let's see, Matt, by the way, a special shout out here. Matt does some iRacing. Don does some iRacing. We do some iRacing here. The ATYL Toyota about to hit the high banks of
all it took was Jimmy Johnson to field a team of Toyotas to get him to convert. Welcome to the team.
I gotta say, like, I think Denny, his whole vibe this year has really made me a fan of his. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, you gotta flip the hat.
I gotta get just a plain Toyota hat one of these days.
Funny story. So back in, I think this was 2017 or 2018, I was at the Toyota fan booth at Kentucky Speedway, and there was the guy who was running that whole booth for Toyota. He was talking on the mic, and I went up there and started talking to him because he was just asking questions to fans as they were going by, and we had a full-blown conversation. We started talking about Danica. He goes, you know what? Sit down. Grab a mic and we're going to talk out loud. I'm like, oh, God. Okay, great. Cool. And I'm like, this is my first experience, like, holding the microphone talking about racing. And at that time, about 10 minutes before I got there, he was like, yeah, Noah Gragson, Todd Gilliland, Brandon Jones, KBM, and everything like that. They were going to be doing interviews by that. So I got to ask each of them a question, which was mind-boggling. Nice. And I was like, that was like my first experience doing that, one. But two, I got a free Toyota racing hat out of it, which I have, like, till this day. And back then, I'm like, I didn't really want to wear it. I'm like, I was a Noah fan and everything like that. But I was like, Toyota racing, though, I don't really know. And now I'm like, heck, put that hat on me, like, every single weekend. Like, it's just, I think Denny, and I don't know if this is true for any of you in the comments, but it's kind of revived my love for Toyota racing, because his personality, whether you love it or you hate it, is so good for the sport. And I find it really fun to watch each weekend. Like, just what is he going to say? What is he going to do? And also, too, if you guys listen to Action Detrimental, the podcast episode he released this past week was so good. Like, Dom, I don't know, did you listen to it?
I have not listened to it yet.
Okay, I've listened to half of it. But it's just, I don't want to spoil anything for y'all if you do listen to it. He speaks truth and facts, and he says things that other drivers and other people in the industry, I think, are afraid to say, but he does not care. And I think there is danger in that, but there is also so much value in that. So yeah, just, if you don't listen to it, listen to it. Yeah, it took Matt. I agree. Team Toyota all the way. We love it. We love it.
And I think too, what helps now, especially with Denny, is he's a team owner now.
Yeah.
So now he sees it from both ends. So he knows exactly what the drivers feel, and he knows exactly what the owners feel. So I think that really helps with his arguments.
Yeah.
Take them if you want. But yeah, I mean, every sport needs an antagonist, and
Oh, yeah.
he's the man right now.
And I would like, I would say a good portion of you, like 70, maybe 80% of you do not want to see him win a championship because y'all despise him. I get it. I really do. But can you imagine how much buzz that will create in the sport and how much good I think that will do for the sport if he was able to get a championship? Like, social media cranked through the roof because of it, you know what I mean? Like, I also too, just because he is that talented of a driver, he has the stats, I want him to finally get it done.
Yeah, likewise. I think, um, I don't want to jinx him because
Oh, yeah, yeah,
what
let's
I
not do
want
that.
to. It's what I want to, but I'm still sticking with Christopher Bell will play the system
Mhm.
and win it. But the first thing I think of is what is the first thing that comes out of his mouth when they put that microphone next to him when he climbs
Uh-huh.
out of the car as the champion. I dreaming of the day
Yeah.
to hear the first thing. My guess is, what are they going to say now?
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's all he's missing.
Yeah.
Daytona 500, he's got it. All Star Race, he's got it. Coke 600, he's got it. Southern 500, he's got it. Brickyard 400's coming back next year. You can go get that.
Oh, yeah.
So everything but the title. And that's across all three series. Has never won a NASCAR championship in any of the top three series. So it is all that's left. And it is the LeBron James argument of old. It is he's done everything but win the title. So how can we really measure him against the greats? So it's possible. I don't want to say it's coming because I don't
Uh-huh.
we just don't know. Because he should have won it in 2010, shoulda, coulda in 2019 and 2020.
2020 hurt.
2019 might have been the worst one.
That's
2019,
fair.
I mean, you don't put that tape on that grill, and
And that was
they
his.
very well could have won it. But it's just the nature of racing.
Yeah. So I don't know. If he wins a championship, I will buy a Denny Hamlin shirt. I'll make it a thing now. I will do it if he does. Maybe a hat. I like the FedEx hats. They look good. Um, Matt, predictions for this weekend. So I talked to Chris after the race, and we talked to him about, how prepared does his team feel to go into the round of 8, and he goes, I'm going to be honest with you, and I don't remember the exact quote right now. The video's up on YouTube. But he's like, we put so much effort into the round of 12. We have not even looked at the round of 8. Our goal was to survive this round of 8. We have not even prepared, essentially, is what he said. So I'm nervous for them, especially knowing that they were not the best at Vegas earlier this year. So they've made some strides, knowing Ford is generally decent
You
at
got it.
Vegas. I got it. Thanks, bud. I got it. They're I'm fine. We're doing great. But they're okay. They're good at Phoenix. Not Phoenix, sorry, Vegas. Okay. So I think if the team was able to put something good together, obviously they're gonna win Vegas. But I think, though, again, Hendrick Motorsports is going to be too good. I think we're going to see a Byron or a
Yeah.
Larson win. I think that's almost a guarantee. And if it's not, it's because there is either a mess up on pit road, a penalty, something like that. I think they're going to be
Then
on
you
rails.
also, I mean, you never know. It's so easy to go into a race, and let's just say for sake of argument, Hamlin's leading, Blaney's second, Logano third, and the whole talk of the race is, man, Hendrick really missed it
Yeah.
today. It's just they didn't look good in practice, didn't qualify well, and they're paying the price in this race today. So just anything can happen.
Yeah.
We'll
I mean,
just have to wait and see.
and we've seen that this weekend. I mean, not this weekend, but we've seen that this season too, where we expected team to go into a
Yeah,
race weekend and knock it out of the park. And it's like, what happened? I mean, it's been with Hendrick too.
I think before Larson ended up going out and winning it at Darlington, we were kind of shocked at
Yeah.
how far back. I mean, no Chevy was in the top 10 to start that race.
And Larson struggled this season, and I think recently with practice and qualifying.
Yeah.
we've seen his team and even to like Chase Elliott start near the middle or back of the pack, and it's very uncharacteristic. And they've had to fight their way up to the front. And sometimes they'll get a win out of that. Sometimes it's like I have no clue how they did it, but they got a top 5 or top 10. But it's if they can be more consistent in those practice and qualifying moments. This weekend at the Roval, I mean, heck, hurt the car in practice, wasn't able to qualify. What could have been since it was so dependent on track position. If he would have qualified well, would he have had a car to get it? Because he was one of the few cars that was able to move through the field a little bit, but not enough. So for that 5 team, my expectation going into these next 3 races is you have to put a lot of effort on that practice and qualifying.
Yeah.
So
no doubt.
cool.
I mean, just if they can start up front, it'll be honestly, it'll be an easy day for them.
In talking about, last drivers to win, Logano won this race last year. Byron won in the spring. We have your drivers with the most track wins. Poor Logano, like we all know, not in the championship fight anymore, but we do have, and same with Keselowski, but looking at the other stats here too, we could see another non-playoff driver win this race, but this far into the playoffs, I feel like it's less and less likely, just with the equipment probably getting better and better for these championship contenders. But again, Larson, you see Truex. Finally, I think these are 3 tracks, though Truex's luck has been awful, that this is where this team could turn it around if their luck is good and if they bring the right equipment. And when we see the stats for all of these tracks that we have in the round of 8, they're pretty good for that 19 team. So I'm hoping this is a better turnaround for them. You see, basically Larson, Truex. This is that Hamlin. That's averages since 2020. He's up there in that top 5 for those active drivers. So yeah. So if you want to look at the stats, some of the numbers, courtesy of driveraverages.com, there you go. I'm a numbers person, so hopefully this helps you.
Speaking of the numbers, we've been running a fall race at Vegas since 2018, and there hasn't been a repeat winner of the fall race yet.
Mm-hmm.
We did Keselowski, Truex, Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin, and Joey Logano. So
True.
I honestly think the trend continues.
Yeah. I love it. Again, too, like it could be Hendrick Motorsports for sure, but if we don't want repeats, or if we're thinking outside of Hendrick Motorsports again, maybe look at RFK. If we're thinking that maybe Ford, because my thing is if the Chevys aren't strong, I know Toyota's in the mix there, but I feel like this could be a good Ford weekend if they really put the effort in.
Yeah, and I mean, I think if they just throw everything at that 17 car, they might have a shot. But you got to remember, the 12 is there too.
Yeah.
I think if it's not going to be a Hendrick car, I mean, how can you bet against Denny right now?
That's fair. I was like, I know what you're going to say.
And we've seen that. I mean, the last 2 years, guy that wins the first race in the round of 8 goes on to win it all because they've got all the time they need to get ready for that title race. So,
right.
If honestly, whoever closes it out in Vegas, it is just who cares about Homestead and Martinsville?
Right.
We'll run it in first gear and let it blow up just so we can go back to the shop and keep working on the Phoenix car.
Yeah, like this race is probably the most important in the round of 8. It's not Martinsville. It's not that final Hail Mary race, Hail Melon, if you want to call it.
Oh.
It is this race. I have to do it.
You got eliminated.
I know. But this race, though, is so important because, yes, like you said, Dom, it gives you that extra time to prepare your car for Phoenix that no other team is going to have. So you can have a 1 race advantage. Like if you win Homestead, then you have the race at Martinsville to prepare your car, but you want those extra 2 weeks to be able to really get it ready. So, we'll see. That should have been the name of this live stream. We'll see. Yeah.
Is the answer to this question another question waiting to be answered?
Pretty much. Cool. We'll have a few minutes in the stream. If you guys have any other questions, comments, let us know. Here's another good comment. But yeah, if you have questions in the comments, let us know for these last few minutes. Also, if you can, scan the QR code in the top right. It gets you to the ATYL website for some merch. I saw some of y'all have been buying the merch, so thank you. Excited to hopefully see you all wearing it at the track. So there we go. But yeah, I know. I feel like somebody will throw a Hail Mary on the last lap in Martinsville. Now, it won't be a Hail Melon move because it's illegal. But more so, like, if there's, like, you're going to junk somebody for the win. Not riding the wall, but junking somebody. I could see that happening depending on the situation. Just throwing it out there.
That win meant nothing to him, but he did it anyway.
Fair. Yeah, I see that
I'm
happening
better now.
too.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. You're like, I just have to get that out there. I will say though, for in Bowman's defense, just to give a little positivity to his way and the number 48 team's way, they did maintain their top 10 streak at the Roval. They've every time they've gone there, they've had top 10s. So kudos to them. I know Bowman came into this weekend feeling confident because of that. Thank you, Dom. See, we got it. We got a clap there for the 48 team. So continue that top 10 streak, which to me is a positive sign. So yeah, again, it's another thing of like the 48 and the 9 they're going to come back hopefully 2024 swinging because they definitely need that. They need a fresh restart. Yeah, John. Yeah, definitely get your ATYL merch soon. Birthday. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Do we have ATYL birthday candles?
We really should,
Have we
honestly.
tapped into that market yet?
Well, we do have it's a birthday month for two of you guys,
I don't know what
you
you're
and
talking
Adam.
about.
Okay. Do we have hold on. The question is, do we have a live stream on your birthday or Adam's birthday? Because this is going to be fun.
Let's see. No.
No.
His
Dang.
is before me, right?
Yeah, his is before yours. Man. We'll have to do like a celebration though on the stream. Birthday week type thing.
We'll see.
We will. You're going to
I
hate
might
it.
not miss her.
You're like, I'm not going to show up that week.
No presents. No presents. You're not allowed.
Oh my god. Yeah. So yeah, well, John, happy early birthday. What is up with these October birthdays for the ATYL
Good
crew and team? You know what I mean?
My mama bear's birthday's on the 9th.
Oh my god. Well, look at that. Man. All right. Man, now I wish my birthday was. I feel like October is such a good birthday month, especially too like because it's in the NASCAR season, it's winding down playoffs. If you're a NASCAR fan, I think it's a fun
College
time,
football,
right? Yeah,
NFL.
college football, NFL, NHL starting
Hockey
up.
just started up. NBA
Yeah.
is getting started.
So yeah, my birthday's
Baseball's
January
ending.
where like nothing's happening. It's
Yeah,
sad.
busy month. It's a sports month.
It's month of sports. All right. Well, we'll kind of leave you all there, kind of thinking through what's going to happen at Vegas, who you think is going to make it to the championship for. We appreciate you all hanging out with us as always. Make sure to visit abovethelowline.com, tobychristie.com, of course, for all your NASCAR news, Racing America as well. But yeah, we have all our latest content there, everything in between, more news from us as we go. So yeah, make sure to visit. And then, of course, the full-length ATYL episodes happen every single Monday, or late Sunday night on all your favorite podcasting platforms and the Toby Christie.com YouTube and Facebook pages. But keep a lookout for us on our social media pages. We've had our usernames on the screen all night long, so make sure to find us there. But yeah, thanks all so much for joining. We're also excited for off-season content. We have some good things coming to you. We're trying to start thinking through things now, so be on the lookout for that. But enjoy the weekend of racing. If you're going to the track, stay safe. And until next time, signing off, I'm Joseph Taylor Kitchen. We will see y'all later. Bye.